Hi guys, I'm Jared, the co-founder of Team Step Brothers, which if you guys ever wondered what TSB meant or what it stood for, that's what it is. I know, and I'll get into that into another video, maybe. But anyway, I felt led to try and do a new series of weekly devotions, or a series of weekly devotionals that is somehow involved with dirt bikes, or I might branch over into something that's just involved with the outdoors, as you can see with the clown hat and the moose jersey. You know, trying to get a little bit of a character going on, I guess. And my wife said I need to wear this jersey since I haven't worn it in racing because it's so nice and I didn't want to get all muddy and nasty.
Spent a lot of money on it.
She did. She spent a lot of money on it. But anyway, these devotionals, I just want to tie into somehow the triumphs and the challenges that we face as dirt bike riders. Now I have a little bit of a preface to these videos. They are short. Hopefully this one's probably going to be a little bit long. But any feedback is appreciated. Now this is not a holier than thou type ordeal to where I'm preaching to you guys. I'm just giving a message that I thought, would be cool to tie somehow to dirt bikes, and kind of bridge that gap between the church and, the sport that we all love, no matter where our hearts are or what we believe in, or if we believe in nothing. Okay, that's fine. This video wouldn't be for you then. Okay, unless you wanted to take a chance and watch it. Now, I'm a firm believer in conversation, so feel free if you have anything that I talk about that you don't agree with, or that if you want to add, feel free to comment in the section below, and that's great. If you have no interest in my devotionals, you don't have to watch them. Okay, that's your choice. I'm not making you watch it. It's not something that is going to be going out over a TV channel that you have to watch. That's the great thing about YouTube. You can skip over it. Okay, I have friends who are non-believers, who are atheists, who like to give me a good ribbon, and again, I'm fine with it. I have a big heart, I have a big chin, I can take it, I can keep going. Okay, and that's just kind of the great thing about free will. Either you can follow it like I do, or you can choose not to. Okay, it's kind of like my pastor said, I can't make you believe in God. That's not what I'm here for. But you can't convince me otherwise. Okay? So, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get to my story. And I think I'm going to title this one, okay, the whole series I'm going to title Dirt Bike Devotionals. Alright? But I'm going to title this one The Drive to Win. Okay? So, as some of you may already know, I raced my first hare scramble a few months back. When I first got my bike in May. Okay, I weighed about 300 pounds. I think the official weight was about 296, 297, somewhere in that range. And I told myself whenever I got the bike that I wanted to race hare scrambles. Alright, it had been almost a decade since I raced one, and I really wanted to get down to 260 pounds before I started that. So, of course, to get down to that, I ran, I dieted, and every chance I got, I rode. Alright? Now, I did this consistently. Okay? Every day I was doing those three things, or at least two of those things. Alright? Diet was every day. Okay? I trained hard. Alright? I mean, like I said, it was a daily thing for me. There were days that I wanted to quit, that I didn't want to do it anymore. And you know what? I worked anyway. Alright? I pushed and I pushed. I didn't want to lose focus on my goal, which was essentially lose the 40 pounds, get down to 260, and then race my first hare scramble. That was like my goal, was to get down to my weight, my desired weight, so I could race. It kind of reminds me of, and I'm not calling myself Peter because Peter is a far greater man than I am or ever will be, but it kind of reminded me of the story of Peter whenever he walked on the water. Okay? In Matthew 14:29, if you want to, read it. Oops, dropped my note. All right. In Matthew 14:29, it says, and this is basically, about the story about Peter walking on water. And I actually start at 28. Peter called to him, Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water. 29, yes, come, Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. Save me, Lord, he shouted. All right. So Peter had his eyes set on Jesus. Okay? Walking to Jesus, getting to Jesus was his ultimate goal whenever he started his trip. Okay? And as long as his eyes were set on Jesus, he was fine. He was walking on the water. Everything was great. But, as Scripture points out, okay, and I might add that this was kind of like my goal of wanting to lose the weight to get to the first hare scramble. Okay? As long as I kept my eyes on my goal and kept going, I would get there eventually. Alright? But, as the Scripture also pointed out, okay, Peter became nervous and took his eyes off his goal. Okay? And then whenever he did that, he began to sink. Alright? We're talking like a lead balloon. Started to sink. Alright? He let his fears and distractions of what was going on around him and happening to him take him off the path that he was walking. Okay? Now, I'd be lying if I said that during this hard time I had with trying to lose all this weight, that I didn't have my fear and distractions along my journey. Okay? Things such as, what if my dirt bike breaks? What if I get hurt? What about the financial situation of things? Could I afford to ride anymore? And then, holy crap, those brownies that my wife just made look incredibly good. Okay? That was more of a distraction than a fear. Okay? But anyway, it still happened. Alright? All these things, they sought to take my eye off the go. Now I had an option, or options, that if I wanted to, I could quit right then, okay, and just forget about the whole dirt bike thing. Okay? I could quit and then race anyway, or I could keep going, meet my goal, and race my first race. Alright? My free will allowed me to do any of those things if I wanted to. I had all those options. And the one I chose, well, it was the hardest path. I kept going. I didn't let those fears and distractions take my eye off my goal. I pushed through it, and I kept going. Okay? So, fast forward to the week of September 18th. Remember, I had weighed 297 pounds whenever I first got my bike. In May. September 18th, I stepped on the scale and I weighed 256 pounds. Okay? I had got to my goal and then surpassed it by 4 pounds. I did it. Alright? If you don't believe me, you can ask anybody that has known me this year. I legit did it. Alright? I lost 40 freaking pounds, guys. 40 pounds. Not water weight. That's everything. Went down a whole shirt size. Okay? I lost the weight. I could finally ride a hare scramble. Okay? So, what I did, I loaded up my bike, I loaded up my gear, and I loaded up my pregnant wife with our twins, and off to the race we went.
They're still compact, so they didn't have to pack her out.
Yeah, but you were still with them. Okay? Alright, so I went off to race my first hare scramble, really my first race period, in almost a decade. I get there, and it had been raining all morning. Okay, so the track was muddy. It was kind of a very miserable, dingy day. It's, just a nasty race. And anybody that watches this that was there, you can attest to that. But it was kind of my fault. I spoke it into existence because I remember thinking, how cool would it be if the first race was a mud race? Because at the time, I thought I really liked riding in mud and playing and all that stuff. So, it is what it is. Alright, so we get on the line, and there's 20 guys in my C Open class. 20. That was the biggest class out of all of them in the race. Okay, and when the flag dropped, I was the first one to the gate. I actually got the whole shot. Alright, first race in a decade, I got the hose shot. Okay? So, of course, my first thought was, hey, this is going to be a cakewalk. Alright, I got this. No problems. That was the biggest lie if I've ever told myself one that I think I've ever told myself in my life. So we're going to skip ahead 10 minutes. Alright? And I'm ready to quit. Okay? My arm pump's already setting in. Okay? I'm soaked head to toe with water and mud. You can't even read the number plates on the bike. And I had quickly dropped back to 6th place from 1st. And at this point, all I can think is maybe I should have set my goal to 220 pounds and kind of prolonged this whole thing. Would have made things a little bit easier, I'm sure. I finished my first lap in about 33 minutes. Okay? I pull over to my wife, and I remember telling her, I did tell you this, right? About where I was like, I wanted to quit.
I don't think I can do this.
I don't think I can do this.
Or I don't think I can make it.
That was my words. I don't think I can make it. Okay? And she told me that I woke her up at 5:30 in the morning, pregnant with twins, and drove her 2.5 hours or 2 hours to a race in the rain. And then I was going to quit after the first lap. Okay? So, maybe with her and a little bit of, God, I had my options at this time, okay? Just like in my training up to this point, I could either quit or I could keep going. And again, my hard-headed self went with the second option, which of course obviously is the harder of the two. I kept going. The second lap, it was tough. But it wasn't as tough as the first one. I was starting to loosen up a little bit. Third lap, still tough, but it was better than second. And then whenever I went into the fourth and final lap, I didn't even stop and talk to Jess. I was going, I had my mind in the game, boom, run through the pits, kept going. Okay? I was feeling awesome. I finished my race in 2 hours and about 5 minutes. Okay? And in a field of 20, I had raced back to 4th place. Not a podium finish, but for someone who had, just previously weighed 300 pounds, hadn't raced a dirt bike in 10 years, I finished 4th. And I also finished that lap 4 minutes faster, or almost 4 minutes faster, than my first lap. Okay? The one where I'm supposed to be fresh as a daisy and doing well. Now to my point. The great thing about being God's children is that we have free will. We have the choice to choose the path we want to. We can either choose to follow Him, or we can choose not to. The scripture says in Revelations 3:20, see if I can find it. Alright. It says in Revelations 3:20, look, I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends. Those who are victorious will sit with me on my throne, just as I was victorious and sat with my Father on His throne. He gives us the option to follow Him or live in our own ways. But there should be a warning label in the Bible. Alright? Being a Christian isn't easy. Like my diet, my training, my weight loss, there was a lot of temptation. There was a lot of struggle. There's like the first lap, okay? I was dirty, nasty, beaten down. I was just broken. I was in bad shape, both physically and mentally. But in both scenarios, I took the harder road. I kept my eye on my goal, and I kept pushing, okay? And in both scenarios, it got easier. The end of the time that I spent doing it was not as difficult as the first of the time. And that's really what it's like being a Christian. Okay? It's not going to be easy whenever it first happens. Okay? You're going to have all these trials. You're going to have all these temptations. And all these situations to where you can fall off your path. And you know what? That's free will. It's a double-edged sword. Okay? It's not going to be easy. And it says all in the Bible that it's not going to be easy. Alright? But if you take the first step and you keep your eye on the goal like I did, you can win. Just like in both situations, I feel like I won. Alright? So guys, I hope you enjoyed this, because I know I certainly did. Hopefully as we go on I won't be looking at my notes as much. But I'm not a preacher. I do enjoy doing these. Usually I just write them out to where people can read them themselves. I'm not actually reading them myself. So hopefully it gets a little better as we go along. And of course we have our guest commentator in the back, Miss Jessica back there, the accountant for Team TSB. Is that an accurate title?
No, you guys kicked me out.
Oh, we kicked her out. She kind of comes and goes as we need. But anyway.
Yes, I'm the bookkeeper.
Yeah, bookkeeper. That's the formal title. So guys, just remember, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any tips or tricks or improvements, hopefully I didn't do too bad of a job, just post them below. Alright, there's a comment section down there for things like that. And just to end, this is Jared from Team TSB. Have a blessed week.